former president passed away is absurd. Clearly, they are often idle, yet they remain the highest paid lawmakers worldwide. Halting their duties for 7 days is outrageous. Ben Samuel is not having it at all. Let's take one more remark from Shegun Fumi within Q. It says, I'm in support of the 7-day mourning. The purpose of the public holiday is what I want to understand. No public holiday was declared to honor the passing of President Musa Yar'Adua, who was a better president than President Muhammadu Buhari. This is some of the conversations coming up from this the death and back of the death of the former president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari. We keep saying president, actually.
Again, let's look at it in retrospect. Once you are the head of state or you're the president, now even though it is more or less like an unwritten law on the wall, you want to address the person with that level of recognition. Why? It's not easy to have been the #1 man in a country like Nigeria, 200 million people. It's not easy at all. The hurdles he could have gone through, and there's something we're not even seeing. Apart from being, democratically elected during his time, right? Before then, many years ago, he was the head of state of Nigeria while he was in the military. So let's don't forget that fact that I don't want to use the word was, even though he has passed on now, but while he was alive and during his active years, he was quite, a seasoned leader. He added a lot of value in many ways. So I can understand where the other guy is coming from when he says that he wasn't a sitting governor, sitting president. So why should we have like a full day for holiday, for mourning, yes, and something like that? But again, I might want to disagree with him, even though.
Why are you disagreeing?
I will tell you. Now, even though our opinion is supposed to not sway left or right, but rather be on the fence, but I want to disagree. Because if you look at it, in many ways, if they say, when you act in some certain ways that has added value, one of the ways they can honor you is to make sure that your name and legacy, last the test of time after you're gone. Now, I think the question now should be, was it hurriedly mentioned? In other words, should they have just thought about the millions of naira and funds that could have been lost out of people not going to work or business and stuff? Maybe they could have thought about it very well, but they now realized again he was a major stakeholder in Nigeria's growth so far.
Growth?
Well,
that's debatable.
Once you
could say downward spiral.
Again, growth could be anyway. Growth could be up, growth could be down. It all depends.
No, growth
but
is upwards.
But upwards. You know what I mean? But even at that, right? As we spotlight things that he did while he was alive, let's also think about other areas that we could ask questions. But even at that aside, more importantly, one day might be okay. Let us mourn for him. Let's mourn our former president. One day is okay, fine. After all, we have Saturdays and Sundays that we don't even go to work. But some people who are actually in the essential business, they do go to work. But if we say Saturday and Sunday, right, it's a stay at home, holiday, weekends. There's nothing wrong if we have an extra day to say, look, let us mourn our former president. It's not every day a president dies. So I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu it was a welcome idea that he could have said, look, that he said, take one day and let us mourn the president. Those who might not like it, they have their own issues too. Maybe someone who is into a business where he or she has to show up at work and is dependent on federal government allocation, dependent on federal government, all those areas that's with institutions and every other thing that obviously they won't come to work today. Maybe they'll be affected. Let's be honest, okay? You ask for rain, it affects some people. It benefits some. That's how life is.
But my question will be, will this become a thing where, depending on your position, past presidents, obviously, I know this is not something that happens every day, so yes, there's that. But depending on your position, will this become a thing where we tend to see public holidays for notable people, or is this just going to be a thing for presidents?
Again, I don't think if a senator dies today, they will declare, a day for mourning. This is on a rare occasion, really. The person that passed on wasn't just an ordinary person. I'm not saying all lives don't matter.
But then it's
But-
7 days mourning.
But again, yes, maybe
and
7
all
days.
activities are paused. So, but my question is, you know why I'm just a little bit divided? It's because it's not. So if they say this was President Tinubu was speaking about, it's understandable. But they're pausing activities. So we didn't
For
just
7
go on a
days.
public holiday. They're pausing their activities.
And the government, the parastatals are on pause.
Parastatals up until 22nd. Today is 15th. So we have how many days for them to have this pause? I'm just wondering, like, what really are the activities going on, or activities that it was on to that we have to now say, oh, we have to pause this, because this person is like, we're talking about someone that was the past president.
But again, let's look at it from this angle. The ruling party.
Or is it because it's part of the ruling
I was
party?
coming there also.
Okay.
There's some other political tone, undertone to this whole thing that we might not be seeing. Some people, Nigerians, we're used to, if around the world, human beings are used to weighing into every situation to gain prominence, to be able to say, look, you know what, in my time this happened because, I pushed for it. Now, I'm not saying it's a way of gaining clout. After all, who has passed on. There's nothing we do that will bring back the person who has died. But however, if this so-called, I won't call it so-called, if this proclamation or whatever you want to call it, to say 7 days, if it is actually correct,
It's correct.
So the question now would be, if it is, how bad will it affect Nigeria's economy so far?
Because that's really where
Because
we're
now we
coming
chase
from.
the money. As BusinessDay TV,
Exactly.
we look at the areas that will be affected, how businesses might not flow properly, and the downtown, and of course, the ripple effect on other areas. Business will be on hold. The GDP might be affected one way or the other because they're taking away 7 days, right?
So my point is, I'm also curious to know what the National Assembly
are saying about it too.
Since they have also postponed all their legislative activities, they postponed it up until July 22nd. So what will be happening in the National Assembly?
Good question.
So because that's a number of people who are clearly going to be off. When I say off work, yes.
I mean, they'll be at home
resting. Is this the time for us to rest?
This is the time for us to really be on the match so that we can really stamp a lot of issues that we're dealing with. Insecurity, I get you, clearly. But again, former president just died. Can we for once just sit back and say, okay, if it's going to be a holiday and we'll mourn, if it's 2-3 days, that's fine. I mean, when we had COVID, remember, COVID for 2 weeks plus, nobody was going to work.
That's COVID. For once, Nigerians,
I like the fact that we're making a case about this thing.
Nigerians like public holidays.
Oh,
but for Nigerians
course.
to be unhappy,
right?
Or if you had checked on social media, because this is social listening, you would have seen many Nigerians complaining or commenting on the fact that why are we observing a public holiday? What really is this public holiday about?
Sure.
And this are the set of people that like public holidays a lot.
Of course, Nigerians like freebies.
But for Nigerians to be frowning
at this public holiday,
it just leaves you wondering about a lot. I mean,
again, let's be honest. The same people who are going to complain about this thing are the same people who will say, if we don't show some form of concern, Nigerians are losing their togetherness. Maybe this whole idea is to say, look, let's have a common ground. So far, the only thing that keeps us on the common ground is sports, football. I've been saying, when the football match is on and Nigeria is playing, everyone is holding hands together without even knowing whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, whether you are from the north, east, west, at all.
Nothing.
Everyone, for the first time, will have a spirit of patriotism. So, again, I want to sway my own decisions a little bit to say, look, maybe, or my own opinion, to say maybe the president could have seen, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu could have said, look, this will help to foster the spirit of patriotism. And so let's go ahead with it.
I hear you. I hear you. I mean, I'm not going to say
our former
more to
president
that.
died, President Muhammadu Buhari, and we are all, feeling, we're feeling, well, we are reflecting on his great work and everything. Can we enjoy that 5 or is it 2 or 3? How many days can we enjoy it?
Okay.
And now see that it's time for us to sit back and say, okay, was it like, there's an undertone, was it like, being a leader, how to inspire people and say, look, you want to be a great leader tomorrow. Tomorrow, if anything happens, right, can we call on you to step into office and do the right thing? If given the mantle of leadership, can you deliver? Let us use this period to begin to reflect on leadership, reflect on what can go wrong. Let's use this period to begin to ask ourselves questions to say, okay, those people who are in the health sector, different sectors that help the country run, right? Curb corruption, stamp these things out. Let's just make our industries and everything work properly. So as a nation, we can now grow. So if this is a period of reflection, of course, a sober reflection, we lost our former President Muhammadu Buhari. It is also a 7 days giving, right? And we have to stay at home to reflect. Let us also use that opportunity to now say, how do we make Nigeria better? How do we foster the spirit of patriotism?
All right, speaking of how to make Nigeria better, let's move on to another public reaction now, where a video went viral last weekend showing an accident victims being turned away at the Federal Medical Center in Abuja, still in the capital. Nigerians were furious, accusing the hospital of negligence. Now, in response, the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isiaq Salako, paid a surprise visit to the hospital, and after reviewing the investigation report and inspecting the emergency unit, he wasn't impressed. He ordered an immediate increase in casualty officers on each shift and told FMC to fully integrate newly recruited health assistants. He didn't stop there. He called for better infrastructure, tighter surveillance, and full accountability going forward. Now, according to him, you are in the eye of the storm, and this is what Salako said to hospital staff. One mistake is all it takes to lose public trust. Officials at FMC admitted the problems as overcrowding, staff shortages, and limited space, but promised reforms were already on the way. I don't know if you have the video of the incident, but without the video, let's just take a look at some of the tweets. OM Edime says, never too late to get it right. Good governance serves and saves anyone. Ipinera Yomi says, this unscheduled visit is nice, but the issue is, you decided to do that because of the online rant. I think you should do this to other hospitals within Nigeria, and you will be shocked. Joseph Shoremekun says that this unscheduled visit is really impressive, and it would ensure that people are kept on their toes at all times and deliver quality healthcare services. That's as much as we can take on the comment on this story. But you know what? I think the impact of these visits, we will definitely see a positive impact in that hospital. But again, I always like something that is, applies to everyone, because we still have so many of these hospitals that are lacking in many ways. If these people, if we're talking, if it's calling for better infrastructure, if it's calling for tighter surveillance, if it's calling for full accountability, then he has to be calling on it in the different hospitals, because there are lots of issues. Again,
it's not far-fetched to see that our people can complain about this. They're not saying it outside what is not true. It is a big issue that we're concerned about. Our healthcare sector is becoming something else. Let's not even talk about the part of brain drain going on, and our best doctors live in the country for better, better pay and better working environment. So if you look at it closely, I don't want to make a case for negligence, but let me look at it from the angle of the doctors and hospital staffs and those who run medical centers and facilities. Do they even have 24 hours power supply? Let us start with that. What about, you talk about the emergency and how they respond to things. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be sensitive when they have emergencies. I'm not saying so. But I'm saying, you see, when you want to send someone to the war front, equip them properly. A soldier is only as good and as, effective as him being equipped. Give them the right tools that they need. Okay? Let them lack nothing. A sector that we can't afford to shortchange is the health sector. The security sector also, which is in our armed forces. Those two areas are the ones that will set any other ball rolling. Businesses cannot run. I mean, we are BusinessDay TV. There will be no business to talk about if the country is not safe and if people are dying. Are you going to talk about business of people dying? No, we want to hear business of people being what? Being saved. We understand that, and sometimes negative news has a way of boosting whatever you want to call it. Maybe people want to be more attracted to that, but it shouldn't be every time talking about who has passed on or who has not passed on. What about we talk about preventing this thing from happening? So if issues like this are happening and then we see the video and then we're talking about it back and forth, let us also ask ourselves a question and be honest about it. Are they well equipped? Even if it's a private institution, are they getting the right, training and seminars that the government is responsible for? Are we having a PPP, public-private partnership kind of forum where every now and then our doctors will begin, the ones coming out of university will not start thinking, okay, I'm out of university right now, but in fact, not even out yet. While they're in university, they're planning time to go and travel to Canada to go and be a cleaner there in a hospital. I'm telling you, most of them who have studied medicine are there cleaning floors like janitors. And they tell you, where do you work? Oh, I work in a medical facility. As what? As a nurse. I'm not saying they're not nurses who are not doing well there, but I'm saying not everybody will tell the true picture of what they're going through. Nigerians are doing a lot of odd jobs to survive. Why? Because our institutions back here are not working properly.
Absolutely.
And those things cut across board. Now we're talking about this health sector issue now. And the question is this, is that if we want to see people respond more, what about we begin to treat those who are supposed to do the responding, treat them better? If it's a government institution, what about we paying salaries well? What about we saying once in a while, okay, there'll be some form of increase? It doesn't hurt. We are spending billions, if not trillions, on other areas. I just spoke about, when we're doing newspaper review, I spoke about the coastal road, the amount of money we're spending. I'm not saying that road wasn't important.
The problems are
a lot. But compared to what Nigerians are going through, right, was that necessary? Let's be honest. Do you remember one funny thing? We knocked down a lot of businesses for that road to be taken, for that road to be constructed. So I can go on and on and on and on and on. And so if our health sector is lacking something, yes, we'll hold them to account, hold the doctors to account, right? We'll hold the medical officers and people, whoever it is that is there, hold them, let them be responsible for some certain things. But while you're holding them responsible, right, let's also hold the government accountable. Let us start with that also. And we too, as human beings, we also, when we get there, don't be quick to judge, to jump on, oh, doctor, this, that. They're also human beings too. They also have their own problems too. All right? So I think what is good for the goose is also good for the, like they say,
gander. All right, that's where we, close the curtain on social listening here. We've seen what people are saying on social media. We moved from the death of the president or former president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, and also the interesting and very debatable public holiday, which we are also observing today, and then to another story of hospital negligence.
But is that 7 days really correct?
7 days of mourning, yes, it's correct. Yeah, no. So that's not for us. That's for the National Assembly.
Oh, right.
So it's just 1 day for us to observe a holiday, then 7 days for them to be off work at the National Assembly to just observe their own mourning.
They wanted to just go and enjoy themselves, so they found a good reason to.
Well, I mean, who am I to say? I have no comment on this conversation anymore. But that's where we bring it to wraps here on the social listening segment. My name is Elizabeth Musa.
And I'm Onyeka Valentine.
Up next is Today in History. Let's see what we have on Today in History.
Welcome to Today in History on BDTV, where we look back at some of the events that have shaped our economies and the business world. I am Norma Bona, and today I'll be taking you down memory lane to some of the events that occurred on this day, July 15th.
On this day in 1916, William Bowen incorporated the Pacific Aero Products Company with $100,000 in capital. A year later, its name would be changed to Bowen and it will launch its first product, the Bowen 1, a single-engine biplane with floats. Today, Boeing is the leading producer of passenger airplanes in the world, making more than $100 billion in revenue yearly. As of June 14, 2025, Boeing has a market capital of $173.82 billion. On this day in 1960, the UK Parliament passed the Nigerian Independence Bill, which finalized the process of granting Nigeria its independence. This bill was an important step that led Nigeria to become a sovereign state on the 1st of October later that year, giving the Nigerian people freedom to decide on their own political and economic affairs. Today in 1997, Italian fashion designer Gianni Versace was murdered by serial killer Andrew Cunanan at Miami Beach, Florida. He was not just infamous for his bold and brazen designs in luxury fashion, but also for his prolific business intellect. Upon his death, Versace's fashion empire was valued at $806 million and included over 130 boutiques all over the world. And on this day in 2006, co-founders Jack Dorsey, Evan Williams, and B. Stone publicly launched their online microblogging service, Twitter. And within the following decade, it had more than 300 million users. This social networking hub will go on to become a significant component of the global society, being a key communication tool for disseminating first-hand information from politics to international relations. In October 2022, Elon Musk acquired Twitter for $44 billion and rebranded it to X on July 23, 2023. And finally, on this day in 2012, South Korean rapper Psy released his hit single